Hello students, I welcome you to the session 18 of the Learning Management System, an initiative by the Department of Collegiate and Technical Education. In this session, we are going to study about Unit 3, which deals with solar photovoltaic system and wind power plants. This unit is a part of Basics of Electrical Power System for first semester students of Diploma in Electrical and Electronics Engineering. At the end of the session, the student should be able to know the working of a standalone photovoltaic system with its block diagram and the working of grid interactive photovoltaic system with this block diagram. Before we start session 18, let us have a recap of what we studied in session 17. In session 17, we studied about the classification of photovoltaic cell. We broadly classified the photovoltaic cells into two main categories, that is centralized power plant as well as distributed photovoltaic system. And the distributed photovoltaic system was again reclassified into four main types, that is standalone system, the grid interactive system, the hybrid system, and consumer applications. Let us know what we are going to study in session 18. In this session, we are going to study in detail the working of a standalone solar PV system with this block diagram and a grid interactive solar PV system with this block diagram. We are going to discuss in detail both these different types of power system. Let us understand the working of a standalone solar photovoltaic system. The word stand alone means that it is a single unit. It is separate. It stands alone. What is the meaning of this word stand alone? It is an independent unit and whatever is generated is utilized by the consumer. So in the figure what we can see is a solar array. When the light radiations are incident on this array, the solar array will give an output. The output of a solar array is DC. Now this DC output has to be utilized by the consumer. A consumer may be a house, it may be a commercial building, it may be a small community, or it can be a whole village. A stand-alone system can supply power to any size of the consumer. But the consumer usually has AC loads. It is not that DC loads are not there, but DC is used for some specific applications. Say for electric traction, say for electroplating, for charging of batteries and so on. But generally all the loads are AC. So the power that is produced by the solar array is DC and the requirement of the consumer is AC. So we need to convert the DC output of the solar array into AC for the consumer to suit the needs and requirements of the consumer. So for that, we need a device, and that device is called as an inverter. So in the figure, you can see three devices, and one of the devices is an inverter, and the purpose of this inverter is to convert DC into AC. Now, other than inverter, we can also see a battery. Now, what is the purpose of the battery? So, we know that light rays fall on the solar array only during the daytime. And the power that is produced during daytime is sent to the consumer. Now, once the sun sets, since this is a stand-alone system, there is no other source of power. How will the consumer get its load requirement? So for that purpose, we provide a battery. The purpose of the battery is to store charges. So during daytime, when light energy is incident on the array, whatever output is produced is supplied to the consumer, and whatever excess is produced is stored in the batteries. So during night time, the battery will discharge and provide the output to the consumer. Thus, the continuity of power supply is maintained. So in this figure, between the source and the load, we can see three components. One is the inverter, which converts AC to DC, battery, which charges in the day and discharges in the night and stores charges. A third one is a charge controller. What is the purpose of this charge controller? The charge controller is a protective device for the battery. So it ensures that the batteries are not overcharged when there is excess production, and in case the production goes down, it ensures that the battery does not discharge to the PV arrays. In the previous slide, we discussed the schematic diagram. The same diagram we are going to represent in a block diagram. So here we have a PV array. Here is a charge controller, which we can also call the charge regulator. And here we have a battery. So the charge regulator will ensure that the battery is protected from overcharging and is protected from discharging when the PV ray does not produce electricity. Now, from the battery, whatever load is there is supplied directly to the DC load. And when we require to provide AC load, we use an inverter to convert DC into AC. In this system, during daytime, when the light falls on the PV array, a voltage is generated and the power is supplied to the AC load. The excess is charged in the batteries. But suppose the intensity of light energy is more and excess energy is produced, the battery is charged and all the AC load have been supplied, then the excess power tends to get wasted. Moreover, it has one more problem. Suppose during daytime it has worked satisfactorily, the batteries have been charged. But suppose there is an excess load at night, the battery may get discharged, and the charge stored in the battery may not be sufficient to last night long. In that case, then the continuity of power supply is disturbed. In a standalone system, batteries play a very important role. During the daytime, when light falls, the battery has got charged. The charge regulator will protect the battery from overcharging. And at night time, the battery is charged and there is no voltage of PV array. So there is a tendency for the battery to discharge to the photovoltaic array. This is stopped by the charge regulator. So battery is a very important component of a standalone system. But batteries have a main problem that they require regular maintenance and also replacement as the battery life is very short. Moreover, because of this presence of the battery, the initial cost of the system goes higher. So these are the problems faced by a standalone system. The standalone system has a high initial cost because of the presence of batteries. But since this standalone system has got nothing to do with the grid, then the fixed charges that we pay monthly, which is levied by the electric supply companies, need not be paid. Moreover, the standalone system can be installed very close to the load center. So because of which there is no cost of transmission and distribution. This type of system is very much suited in remote locations or rural areas where there is no presence of grid. Also for military applications where there is no presence of electrical supply, if you want to temporarily set up a standalone system, it is very easy and convenient. Let us understand the working of a grid interactive solar photovoltaic cell. This shows the schematic diagram of a grid interactive system. Here we have the grid. When we say interact, that means to give and take. So in this system, what we have is, there is a PV array, and when light falls on this array, a DC output is obtained. Now the DC output obtained, in case there is a DC load, then DC is directly supplied to the load. But generally the loads are AC. So just like a stand-alone system, there is an inverter in a grid interactive system also. The inverter converts AC to DC and from DC to AC. And the AC that is produced is supplied to all the loads present in the house or a community or a village. Now, suppose excess power is produced by the PV array, then that excess power which is produced is supplied to the grid. In a grid interactive system, there's a major advantage that there is no batteries. Because of the absence of batteries, the cost of the entire system comes down. But the problem is the light is available only during daytime. So what will happen after sunset when there is no light? So because it is tied to the grid, there's an option that during the daytime, the excess power is fed to the grid. And at night, this consumer can utilize the power supply from the grid for all its needs. Thus, there's a two-way metering system. Excess power can be sent to the grid, and whenever required, power can be taken from the grid. That is why it is called as a grid interactive solar photovoltaic system. Let us represent the grid interactive solar photovoltaic system by a block diagram. Here we have a PV array. Here we have a circuit breaker. CB means a circuit breaker. We'll explain to you later. And then we have an inverter. The purpose of this inverter is to convert DC into AC. Now, once the DC to AC is converted, whatever load is to be supplied is fed. And then the excess power is sent to the grid via a transformer. The system may be a small system or maybe a big system. A small system can be a rooftop system, while a bigger system can feed a whole village or a community. In a grid interactive system, when the light falls on the array and a voltage is generated, it is sent to the inverter to convert DC to AC. Now it is sent through a circuit breaker. Now what is a circuit breaker? A circuit breaker is used for protection. It is basically an automatic switch, and the purpose is to disconnect the PV array from the inverter whenever there is a problem or a fault. The inverter will filter out whatever harmonics are present. When you say harmonic, we mean all those components which are not required or have a frequency higher than the normal frequency. In a grid interactive system, there are no batteries because during daytime, whatever output is produced by the PV array is sent to the local load, and whatever excess is produced is sent to the grid. But there's a problem. The voltage of the grid may not be equal to the voltage at the inverter. So the AC output of the inverter has to be modified to match the grid voltage. So this is done with the help of a transformer. A transformer is a device which can increase or decrease the voltage level. So in order to feed the excess power to the grid, we need to change the voltage level at the output of the inverter to the input of the grid. And only then we can feed power to the grid. We have circuit breakers provided here as well as here, just as a safety device. The main advantage of a grid interactive system is that whatever excess units are being produced during daytime can be sent to the grid. So when a large amount of production takes place in the PV array, the consumer satisfies his requirement and all the excess unit produced can be sent to the grid. This facility was not available with the standalone system. Moreover, there are no batteries, so the cost of the entire system comes down. There is a net metering system which will measure how many units have been supplied to the grid during daytime, and during night time, whatever units are taken by the consumer for his use is also recorded. Thus, both the way metering takes place and the consumer has to pay the net bill. But the consumer will have to pay the fixed charges fixed by the utility company monthly, so that charges continues to be paid. I hope you have understood the working of a stand-alone system and a grid interactive photovoltaic system. Now, let us have a quick revision. Question number 1. A dash system does not require a battery for storage. You have two choices, stand-alone system or a grid interactive system. A stand-alone system has a battery to store the charges during daytime and discharge during night. But a grid interactive system does not have a battery. So, the answer will be A. Let us go to the next question. The following device is not required in a stand-alone system. You have four choices: transformer, batteries, inverter, and charge controller. A grid interactive system requires a transformer because you want to match the voltage level of the grid to the voltage level of the output of the inverter. But a stand-alone system does not have any such requirement. There's only three components, that is batteries, inverter, and charge controller. So the answer is transformer. The third question, please read carefully. Which of the following is not true for a stand-alone system? First one, it has a high setup cost. Batteries need maintenance and replacement. Third one, it offers continuity of supply. Fourth one, fixed cost of electric supply companies need to be paid. A stand-alone system is an independent system. There's absolutely no grid and it has got nothing to do with the electric supply system. It is independent. So the fixed cost of electric supply system need not be paid for a stand-alone system. I hope you have understood both the topics well. If you want to understand or have a deeper understanding of the topic, please refer to the textbook that we have listed out. We have referred to the same textbook while preparing the content. We have also included the link of some of the videos which you would like to watch and have a better understanding. These are all my teammates who have helped me to prepare this content and present it before you. We have put in a lot of effort and tried our best to put this content before you in such a way that you can have a good understanding and fundamentals of this topic. But we are always open for suggestions and feedback. So if you have any suggestion, please send a mail to lms.dtek@gmail.com. Thank you.